I was not always this strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today. All I wanted to be was an uncommon man. In my whole life, I was not that. I was 6'1" and 300 pounds. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, "You're fat and you're black." He said, I basically had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter. Thank you.
You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. It's about gaining control of your mind, putting things back in the proper perspective, and then saying, I really do want to be here. With every obstacle, I look at it as friction now. Without friction, there is no growth. You have to have friction in your life to grow. So I start looking at all these different things versus the woe is me mentality. Like, oh my God, look at my life. My life's so f***ed up. I come from this family. I'm being beaten. I'm being abused mentally, physically. I start looking at it as a perfect trial ground. So I had to flip it upside down and say, okay, I'm suffering tremendously, mentally. Use this to your advantage versus your disadvantage. So that's what I did. Versus looking at it as like, oh my God, woe is me, I'm never gonna get out of here. I looked at it as, okay, hang on a second. If I can overcome this, if I can find some power in this, some way to get through this, that right there would be the fuel for the rest of my life. And so I found great strength in suffering. It showed me even more of what we have as humans. If we're willing to go there and we're willing to push that extra step. A lot of people, man, how do you do what you do? At the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. A lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step. So if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that. There's a lot of people in graves who have lived 100 years and have never started their real journey. Your real journey starts when you go outside that box and you start climbing mountains. And start climbing mountains. And it goes on and it goes on. And just when you're getting ready to quit, you crest that final mountain, you get down and you look, and there you are. But you cannot find your peace you're looking for in yourself until you've overcome yourself.
It seems like, especially with confidence, right, or self-esteem, there's a relationship between confidence and competence. Mm-hmm. So what you're looking to do is try and have what you believe that you can do be ahead of what you can do. Right. Now, you're not looking for it to be delusional. You don't want it to be able to believe that you can do something like fly, right? But you need to have a relationship between the two. But what people are asking for is for their confidence to be so far ahead of their competence, or without having even been competent at anything in the beginning. And that's just delusion. That's fantasy.
Right. Well, I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself. And that's all great. But there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 hell weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, motherfucker. So whenever you think you can't, confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm going to go knock that shit out. You got to look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. Because a lot of people will say, when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest, and look at yourself in the mirror and do all this bullshit. I hope it works. What works for me is that everyday resume. The things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You don't need to pound your chest in the mirror anymore if you have that. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. I came from a small town in Indiana where there was a handful of black families. And a lot of people in that town, when you come from a town of 8,000 people, it's like we had a local plant, Great Dane. And you're like, you know what? I want to work at Great Dane and get a house next to my mom. That's what you know. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. But I was able to dream outside those four walls of that small town. Until you're able to really put yourself into that dream,